Enjoy digital life.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Months ago, we had a by-election in my constituency, in my ward, about my area MCA. I think I chose to support a candidate of on independent ticket. You know, I serve Fort Kenya. I'm a Fort Kenya Parliament. Fort Kenya came with the candidate. Mm-hmm. I decided to have my candidate, who was independent candidate, not a political party. I know Fort Kenya is in government. There are things I don't agree with this government is doing. That's why I decided to move my way. You know, the system came with old money. Money was delivered in cartons. People were given 1,000 note, a note to share with anyone. You go home. So when I took that to myself, I was there, I ran my candidate. I didn't have much money. Okay, I had money to move around, logistics, fuel and everything to go around. You know, I had to stick to my principle. And I came to beat them, hands down. In the same ward that I serve, I got 7,000 votes. The system got 2,000 votes with a lot of money that they had. So our people, the audience, can decide, the voters can decide not to give you the audience, but they have you at heart. And I want to tell you that severally, when I was campaigning, you could reach a place where there are thousands of people. They said, Baba, wewe maliza haraka uende, usituharibie, kuna mtu anakuja na pesa mingi. So you are told to talk, even you talk for 2 minutes and go. But at the end of the day, they will give you the votes. In fact, those people, they could get a lot of money to a level that when you get there, they buy for you Kideri. Okay. So it's not a guarantee that when they get entirely their money, they will vote for you. You are right. Yes, there's a rip of time. When it comes to like Olkalau now, it's a time for rip-off. You see, people have had problems for so long. Remember, we have people in this country where there is no breakfast, there's no lunch, there's struggle for supper. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if someone can come with 3,000, that can take you for around a week. So it's also good that they receive that money. And now the only problem is they are receiving that money at a cost. The person they will elect into that office, if they respect that man and vote for that person, and then that person will now be a system person. And that person will come to harden by bad policies back to them. So I'm trying to find that people, Kenyans are getting wide, their ears and eyes are opening up. They will get the money, they will eat the money, they will get the goodies. Remember, Olkalawa, I was seeing mattresses written on GK. GK. That means either those mattresses belong to hospitals or they were going somewhere in a refugee camp. Yes, because they are bought by government. I am seeing every senior government official in Olkalau now, up to yesterday. So, in fact, I got a friend who was saying that actually, Majimbo, I wish this chairman of IEBC made his threat right by postponing this election. Oh, because they really wanted it postponed so that they could continuously eat and eat more. So that is the kind of, so if the issue of tokenism is actually taking issue like this, I'm only worried where people will vote according to tokenism.
Yeah. Senator, you know, we'll talk about tokenism, people walking around with money against the anti-money laundering laws that we have in the country. And we see monies being given out against, again, the electoral code of conduct of the country. What that is criminal. It's an illegality because
it's unconstitutional.
It's unconstitutional. Yet it continues to happen. Where is IEBC? Where is police?
No, where is also EACC?
Where is the EACC?
You know, all those institutions. We
institutionalized corruption really that it's okay?
And also the police, you know, because the principle of our electoral system are very clear that every election must be free of violence, free of intimidation. But what you have seen in Olkalau is to the contrary. You have seen people being attacked. You have seen vehicles being stoned. You have seen violence being meted against people. If you go to the, principles of our national security system, and under Article 240, the National Security Council is chaired by none other than the president. Okay, the Minister for the CSE Interior sits in it. It says that the police ought to be neutral. When we are doing our politics, the police are supposed to be neutral. That's why the Constitution says in Article 245 that the Inspector General shall exercise independent command of the police force, so that the minister does not bring his affiliation to a certain political party to interfere. But as you rightly put it, everything has been violated in Olekalau. The Constitution, the Electoral Code, the Elections Act, Ethics and Corruption Act, okay? And nobody has done anything. It could even have been of some consolation if we had even received a statement and a report telling us that we have gathered this evidence, we are trying to tie loose ends, and that action will be taken. If you leave it that way, my dear countrymen, where will this country be in August 2027? Will we have a country? I mean, will President Ruto say, I'm a proud president of a country called Kenya, if we let this country go the way it's going in Olekalau, where you must carry, everything from mattresses to gas to money just to win one parliamentary seat. Whereas, in the days I went to school, I never had a president telling me that he's the one who has given me money to get the loan I got to go to university. You remember we used to pass, you get a letter at the post office, you report to university, and you are given a loan by the government. And nobody will talk about it, but the system was working. The system was working. I saw by elections when I was a young person, under President Kenyatta and President Moi. I never saw what I'm seeing now. It's like we are retrogressing. We are becoming more primitive instead of being civilized. If you read international news, you will see elections happening in the UK, in the US. Do you see this nonsense? You don't see it. There's a way we should conduct ourselves as a civilized country. We cannot behave in such a primitive way and expect it to become Singapore. How? You will not reach there.
That is coming at the backdrop of as a measure of control that was given by IEBC in terms of how much campaign spending any individual will be having. The president, 4 billion shillings if you are campaigning. And one asks the question, in a country where already just handling the election is expensive in the continent, and then we're also looking at would-be candidates spending this amount of money, one asks the question, have we allowed the use of money to control our elections to a point where we are saying someone can spend 4 billion shillings but not ask them to show us the source of these monies? In developed democracies, political financing is managed by a body that is transparent to the state. You must state the fundraiser that took you to this much. This money kept with these accounts. Every day this money was spent. So you can account for the 4 billion that IBC actually talked about. But Kenya is not watertight, In fact, the original question you asked us is that how can an MP have 5 million at one day giving out? When my salary of 600,000 shillings per month is taxed, I end up getting my net of around 200,000 or sometimes even 100,000. If someone has to go for mortgage, it even comes to 50,000. Where do you get the 5 million shillings at one time at a church function? That tells you there is a source of money that is not known. That's why I'm saying money in this country it gets in at porous levels.
Or is it known? Is it known and that it is not being used for what it's supposed to be used for, and is then being used in fiascos like this? That's
why there are accounts in this country that are untouchable accounts. You get somebody say that the money that's going to the intelligence and the security must not be known and audited. That is the area that we must be very careful. In fact, Senator Morgan, my commissioner, we must find a way of how to even discuss the money that goes to intelligence. Because that is the window, that is the pipeline, that state money come back to the members of parliament. You remember every Friday, these members who are saying the compliance MPs, the MPs who comply to the state, they have somewhere to go every Friday to pick that money. And you see, it's a lot of money. So we are trying to speak and speak very clearly that surely, to be very honest on facts, the money that actually we are saying that should be controlled during campaigning, leave alone campaigning. In politics, when we are given a time frame of election like now in Olkalau, money must not be seen anywhere.
But then the thing is that there's no shame in this. It seems, it would appear. The former minister, just the other day, when was being asked about how can we spend over 1 billion shillings in Olkalau already, and he said it could have even been 10 billion. So there's no shame.
Yeah, there's no shame
in
these
this,
guys.
and the question is, how then does it? What is it that allows it to happen? And as you talk about primitivity, Senator, and we look at the pictures of men with bows and arrows and crude weapons, and I thought, and I likened it to, the warriors in a forest who are coming out to come and take control of the land, and that is a trend that has also started, which you alluded to, that money is also used to buy these to buy criminals who would come out and do things like this. So we're looking at a place where money is being used, and at the same time, violence is being used as a tool to reach a political gain. How can we say that we are operating under the ambit of constitutionalism when two of these things are operating in the same space?
It starts with putting the right person in the office. Actually, that top office needs a person with the level head, a person who has integrity in his own, a person who, you see, they say that fish rots from the head. If the head is not clear, it's starting to rot, the tail won't be safe. So as we move towards the general election, we have only 1 year to struggle with this fish. At the end, on 10th of August of next year, we must have the right fish in that office so that we don't have these problems. When you see a gang of goons with bows and arrows and pangas splashing on the road, going to kill people in a church. Actually, where is the CS? We not security. Where is the PS? Where is the president who took the sword to protect this country? It cannot be in the rallies. It moves on the roads, and then it comes to the churches now as we talk. Actually, it was painful to see two leaders who are just going to pray in church, and then a lot of youths with pangas coming to cut them. Leave on that. Previously, when they were discussing issues of the finance bill inside a church in Nairobi, they attacked, and you see, they are continuously saying that we shall crack the whip when the number plates of the motorbikes are being exposed. I saw the media exposing number plates. They are the owners of that. You can get to know that. I myself, when I was moving from Busia to Kisumu, I was tracked by 2 Subarus without number plates. When I got to Kisumu, I got another one following up with the number plate, and the third one now. I had to call and report the police. When I reported that to the police, they called the owner of that the number plate. They found it. When they called him, he said he hired it to the police. Kumbe, these Subarus that are being used by our people are hired ones from the people. So when they said, when we got to the bitter truth is that I was not agreeing with the government on some issues. I was followed by Subarus. I still want to believe that you saw tonight. I don't understand why my brother Kaninikeka was shot. We are talking it that as if it can be on us as we are talking here. So if I was followed by the thugs, I still want to say that the government should not silence people who speak the truth about this government.
Senator, when you talk about the stories of goons in the country, remember during the Gen Z demos when we saw individuals with batons walking side by side to police officers. Then you look at the senator who was attacked in Kisumu, Osotsi. You look at the attack in a church where Rigathi Gachagua was at the time, and also police officers there just being around, and even vehicles being shot for no apparent reason. We see Kisumu. We look at what happened in Nyahururu during Governor Kangata's meeting. And we are discussing goonism in this room as if it has been normalized. We have normalized a situation that shouldn't be normalized. But you mentioned something earlier where the president chairs the National Security Council.
Yes.
Kenya has one of the greatest, if not the greatest, intelligence in the continent. Would we be wrong by saying that
I don't know whether
They
you're right.
know exactly.
I don't know whether you're right about the greatest intelligence, because if you have the
It has been
greatest
touted.
intelligence,
It has been
then
touted.
we should have, by now we should have had a report about where is the source of the money that we are seeing, where is it coming from. And Mheshimiwa has spoken. You know, if you go to America, the Department of Justice probes each and every crime. Nobody is above the law. Well, what we have done in this country is to create a script that the rule of law applies to a certain class of people, but there are those who are above the law, that they can commit murder and get away with it. You know, all these cases you are giving, you know, you cannot have a country where a citizen, a life of a citizen is taken away and nothing happens. You know, I don't know if you remember what happened in the UK during the Hillsborough death, where football fans died in 1989. Do you know that after that, in these days, because of the way life is valued in the UK, it changed the way funds are handled in a stadium. And the government had to form up an inquiry, look at the conduct of the police, and return a verdict that it was the police who were to blame. And that's after that, you know, there was a recommendation that all fans should now be seated in a stadium. Okay? So something was done to ensure that that does not recur again. Now, if you have a country like Kenya, where all these incidences you have given us, people get attacked, and the minister walks up the following day wearing very flashy watches and clothes and proceeds like life is normal. It's like we are not bothered. You get reports that 2 Kenyans have died from this violence and you feel nothing. I think I must make a very strong appeal to Kenyans that a time has come for us to do a radical shift in the next elections. And the accountability card must extend to some people who are holding offices now. Mheshimiwa, if you go to US, the Intelligence Committee, digs deep on how the government is spending money that is allocated to defense. The only caveat is that because of the sensitivity of some of these matters, you do the hearing in camera. You go to UK, the House of Lords, every year in June, holds a meeting with the Chief Justice, the Lord Chief Justice of United Kingdom. And he gives an account, how is the judiciary protecting human rights in the UK. You give a scorecard, You tell the country, how is the judiciary, dispensing justice to the people. You must tell us, these criminals who have been brought before the courts, have they been jailed so that there is deterrence? But what's happening here is that we have dropped the accountability card.
It's interesting that you say that, Senator, because, and our time is running out, but this question must be asked. Because even as we talk about this money being spent, invigilators, for example, last year have not been paid.
Imagine.
That's just one thing. It's among the thousands. But this is crucial here, because the chairperson of the Defense Committee of Parliament said that all of you have goons. All of you have goons that you're on your payroll.
Even
Okongo
Morgan.
All politicians. All of you have goons.
By the way,
proof, you have an opportunity to tell us,
remind you,
how you operate with them.
Do you know that when the wave of independence was blowing in Africa, one of the most stable countries used to be Somalia. Don't you aware?
Yes, indeed it did.
And Somalia deteriorated because of what we are seeing. This idea of clans fighting each other. In Kenya, is like people allied to certain political wings fighting each other. You start as a joke. By the time you realize, there's no country. You now look at Somalia. Somalia has degenerated into lawlessness. Look at what happened in Sudan. And what was this military leader, Bashir? Bashir had an opportunity to lead that country in a manner that is a bit sensitive to the people he was leading. But he took people for granted. You saw what happened to him. Now look at what is happening in the Sudan. So every day we must remind those who are in power today that power is transit. Murkomen should know that there is a time when he will be looked at as a former Interior Cabinet Secretary. And our life in this world is short. There is a time we will also exit the stage. So when you have been given this opportunity, try and make this country a better place. Chest thumping will not do.
Majimbo?
One thing I don't like is the issue of killing a person, killing a youth, and then talking like compensating the family. It hurts me to the core. This is a country that is going to hand over after 5 years with a lot of people BWDs. Most of the people who have been shot, the generations have been shot. There is a way you can address the issues that the Kenyans are raising. Either you can stop and review. You can either come down and withdraw from some issues, but you cannot say that when they protest, shoot. I was hurt when the whole chairman of a committee carrying 10 million shillings to a function, when the principals are having problems with lack of capitation. In this country, you cannot blame students striking in schools because the principals have only money running a half of the term. The rest of the term, the students have no meat, they have no rice, and students don't understand anything. They will say, where is meat? That's why schools are being banned. And then when teachers close schools in the middle of the term, sanctions are placed on them. We have so many principals having a lot of pressure. They are under treatment or pressure and whatever. These issues needs a right person at the road. That's why I'm saying you can build good houses, you can build good roads, but even a good man can build those good roads. So we are saying we must have a leadership in office that can do exactly the same he's doing, but with a good heart, a leader who listens to the people, a leader who does not pick things by force to us. A lot of things. I came in here when you were discussing about pipeline, That is our heritage. That's our treasure. Remember, it's being privatized. You see, where are we taking this country to? Good things that were given to us by forefathers, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, Mzee Moi, Uhuru Kenyatta. Now, is everywhere being gone. You come to Bungoma, where I come from. The only source of economy in my people, Bungoma, is Zoya Sugar Company. One, by paying farmers. Two, by employing our sons and daughters. You see, when the farm was privatized, 80% of the employees in my county were sacked. They are at home. As I talk today, they are at home. They have not been paid their money. Farmers are demanding still their money from government. They are still quiet. You see, we are moving to where everybody's confusing up. And that's why I'm happy about the people of this country, that actually they have seen the power of change.
Absolutely.
Yes. And those people who don't accept the wind of change are swept by the same wind of change.
Interesting thoughts this morning. They're both representing people in this country. The people in the constituency of Kabuchai, represented by Majimbo Kalasinga, and the Senator for the Republic of Kenya, representing the people of Nyamira County, Okongo Omogeni. Thank you both for joining us this morning in these conversations. Things that must be said. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, 9 a.m.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start